I'm very happy to introduce you to Markus VETTER. He's a multi-awarded German film director. He received the German Film Award for The Heart of Vienna and several awards also for The Tunnel. He directed films like The Court and The Forecaster. But today we're going to speak about his latest film, The Forum, which was the opening film at Doc Leipzig. It also had the international premiere at ITFA and is now in the contemporary live section of the Biografilm Festival. Thank you very much, Markus, for accepting Biografilm's invitation for this interview. So I'll go into the film, and in your film, The Forum, you are basically following this 81-year-old Klaus Schwab, who is the founder of the World Economic Forum, and you clearly open a window to the audience to witness how diplomacy works, especially when the most influential people in the world are meeting all together once a year in Davos. Could you please tell us a little bit more how and why you decided to make this film, and also how you managed to gain such great access to this great character, Klaus?
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. It was actually Christian Bates, the producer, came to me because they were already working on that film for 3 years. They had several directors involved. And so all in all, 5 years ago, Christian Bates approached Klaus Schwab whether he would be interested in a film about this elitist place. And Klaus Schwab back then said to him that he would be interested if, and only if, it's not a film about him, but about the institution. So that they took seriously, and they were never approaching him, but only the people in the institution, which is several hundred people working there. And that made it very complicated because they never met him. So they withdrew. All the filmmakers and directors withdrew because they said it's a too elitist place. They couldn't get along with it. Critique was very harsh. So they gave up eventually. And so Christian approached me and said, okay, would you be interested in making that film? And for me, it was somehow the same thing. I thought, it's a bunch of elitist people. It's not that, it's a difficult film because in a certain way you have to love your character. And if you don't appreciate your character, how can you make a feature-length film just by criticizing? So I said, but it's a sign of a time, of course, because it's about the elite. When do you have the possibility to meet elitist people who everybody on this earth are somehow against them, and with a lot of reasons, I would say. So I said, okay, at the least I will meet him to decide whether this could be a film. And for me, the most important thing was to understand whether this man had a vision once he started that, because 50 years ago, he had this incredible idea to bring the most powerful people together and to change the world by that. So that's almost a childish idea to think that that's possible. But back then I thought, okay, 50 years ago, I thought maybe it's an interesting idea. Maybe you would really think that you can change the world with powerful people. But the second thing, when I met him, what he told me is the multi-stakeholder approach, which means he said 50 years ago that a company, a stockholder company, an international company, doesn't have to please only their stockholders, but also society, the environment, and their employees. So they have multiple people to please, stockholders to please, and that was a very, in a certain way, almost a socialist idea. So I thought, when did this journey break apart? When did his vision break apart? And does he think that his vision break apart? And in that first meeting with him, I thought, at least there is a person who dedicated his life to change the world. And I was thinking maybe that is a very good opportunity to have a look at this place where everybody has an opinion about. And so I said, okay, with that personality in front of me, and I told him right away, we have a contract with our audience, and we can't just be in front of the doors. We need to know what's at stake here. What are you doing with the head of states? How are you dealing it? So I have to be there with my camera. I gave him 3 films to watch. He watched them right away after a week with his wife together, and that's when we decided to dare to make that film.
Nice, very nice. So apart from this great access that you had for Klaus, and also to some of the world leaders and CEOs of multinational corporations, one of the striking other characters in your film is Jennifer Morgan, who is the executive director of Greenpeace. Jennifer is playing more the antagonist in your film, and is clearly pushing for more action and for more changes. First of all, congratulations for gaining access to her. My question would be, and maybe also the audience question would be, after witnessing how the forum works and how all these meetings take place, do you think that there is a hope that things will change in the right direction as Jennifer would like to?
It's so complex. The world is so complex. So first of all, I was very happy to have gotten access to her, because she is very important, because she addresses the concerns of the people. So without her, that film would have not been possible, actually, because you needed that antagonist. But it's interesting, by making the film, I understood suddenly she's not that much only an antagonist. Somehow there's also this Al Gore, somehow what we didn't know, because we have our preconceptions that the World Economic Forum is much more on her side than we would have thought. That is not a bunch of capitalists only, but they were putting all their energy in trying to persuade these multinationals to change the world for the better. And the funny thing is, they are also criticized by other people, actually by the right-wing people, that they're doing that, to be manipulating the world, to manipulate, like George Soros, with his Open Society Foundation, to intervene in capitalism. So all that was overthrowing. First of all, the film needed to overthrow some preconceptions, what we are having, in order to understand the complexity of the whole thing. If I think that there is hope for a better world, I think we are at a crossroad, and I think we are first, unfortunately, to go down before we go up. But it's a crossroad. It's an end of a cycle. That's my opinion. With Jennifer brought Greta in, and I mean she is a very, very important protagonist in there, and the youth actually. And what I think, and this gave me hope, that he, as a symbol for the elite people, he said to the youth in the end of the film that he understands that they are protesting, that they're uprising actually, and he said we put them a burden on their shoulders with all the debts we created,
yes.
and we need to address that issue. So by giving them a hand to the youth, I thought he made a wonderful job in the end, because he tries to bring people together instead of separating them. So that's hope, which I see. But he's only one of the people. Do the others act in the same way? That's the question.
Would you change anything in the forum?
I mean, it's not my. I think a lot. I would change a lot in the forum, actually. I think the first problem is, for example, with all the employees. I love the employees. They're all smart, bright, well-educated. I think they all try to do something good for society. But for me, these people they elect there are too smart, too well-educated, too clean cuts. What you need there is people from the edges, and you don't see them there. I mean, they're all eloquent, perfect in English, but they're not so brave. They're yes-sayers and not no-sayers. And I think in a place like that, if you really want to change something, you need a diversity of people. And this is a problem of all the institutions. I made a film about the International Criminal Court in The Hague, and it's the same people. They're too well-educated, too smart, but I like them. This is the funny thing, and that's why it's so complex. We need to stand up. We need to be brave, but that's what all of us. Of course, we want to survive in a certain way. We want to build our career. So it's hard to say no to a charismatic person, for example, as Klaus Schwab. I mean, we have to ask ourselves, the whole appeasement policy, is it good that we have Monsanto there? Is it the film, nothing else? What the film wants to do is to present what he is thinking. That's his way of thinking. He says, okay, we need to bring them all on the table. We shouldn't leave someone outside, because that's more dangerous than separating is more dangerous than having them on the table. Other people will say, no, you can't deal with these assholes. I mean, that will by that you will lose the trust of the people.
Yeah.
And in a certain way, both are right. We don't know, especially at such a crossroad in society. Should we continue hoping, or should we rather accept to break everything apart, because it will never change otherwise? And I don't know. The film just was a start, at least, to think about the elite, to see how the elite acts, and that there's also multiple
layers.
Multiple layers in there.
Yeah, definitely. No, it gives the audience a very clear picture of how this is working. Are you still in contact with Klaus? Do you know what what he thinks now that we have. I mean, because your film was made pre-COVID. Do you know what he thinks about the present situation about with the COVID pandemic, and do you know how this might affect the forum for next year?
Yes, I'm still in contact with Klaus Schwab, and I think that the World Economic Forum plays a role in that COVID pandemic. They try to offer a platform, and by that platform to help the world and to try to persuade again multinational companies to be in solidarity. I know that they all work from home, and I think he's writing a book about the I think it's called The New Setup. What's it called, this book? The Reset. Yeah, The Reset.
Okay.
And in a certain way, we are at such a reset moment.
Definitely.
So yes, I am in contact, and I would actually continue with the second film because I'm very interested in the social entrepreneurs and the shape movement all over the world, because I think they are different from the Friday for Futures young people from Europe more, who are standing up and who are protesting. But these shapers and social entrepreneurs, they are protesting with their ideas, and I love that approach.
Yeah.
And I think we need that approach with ideas, with entrepreneurial ideas, but with the heart at the right place. And hopefully they're not losing that. I mean, by accepting a career and then just doing everything for money. So I would love to focus on them, because I think the youth is the key for future progress, and it's exactly the same thing, to decide whether protesting alone is enough, or could they join efforts instead of being divided again. Yes, we need protests in order to make the society aware, and on the other side, we need ideas, entrepreneurial ideas. I mean, I just watched a documentary, which has nothing to do right now, about Jeffrey Epstein on Netflix. It's all coming together. That's what the society is asking themselves. Is these elite a club of corrupt people who do whatever they want? It's multi-layered, probably. Probably they're both. And they're good people and bad people, but probably it could be very easily that the good people are at the same time the bad people, and it will be revealed in the future. But the normal people are asking for answers, and they will not stop until they find them. But when you're asking for hope, when I was making that film, I had hope. Yes, I had hope. Do I have it still? I'm about to lose it again. So it's a very problematic situation. So I'm happy that I did that film, and I think Klaus Schwab is a good example of I love people who are at least trying to do something, and instead of just talking, he's getting up early in the morning at 5 o'clock, and he's going to bed with the primetime news. So he's fighting every time. I think at least he wanted to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting what you just said about trying to combine the side which protests together with the social entrepreneurs who are really trying to do something in practical terms. And we'll be looking forward to your next project if this is the subject. One question more as a as a filmmaker who has had a film, let's say, in between the COVID pandemic. Your film premiered before the pandemic, so you had a normal, let's say, release in a live festival. Now it's participating in an online festival because of COVID. How do you feel about this as a filmmaker? Of course, there's a different connection with the audience, but it would be nice to tell us what you feel as a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's so interesting because in a certain way, of course, we filmmakers, we love to interconnect with the people because that's the only way almost to feel the vibration of a film and if it gets to the audience. On the other side, I saw myself, especially after successful films, travel all around the world several times, and we want to make the world a better place, but then we are flying like CEOs all around to sometimes to be at a festival in Ecuador with 500 people, but sometimes in another festival with 5 people, but we flew there. So of course we are questioning ourselves, is that the right approach? But of course you also say by changing one person to the better, or you change the whole world. So yes, it makes sense. And I had different festivals, small festivals, that I liked so much to be there, or at the other side of the planet, actually. And it was worth the while to go there. So again, we are finding ourselves in a territory where we don't know. Sometimes it's too much, but sometimes we have also to consider that maybe it's also good to do such an interview. For example, right now, if that's screened and we have a good, and that's a very intimate interview in my eyes, and that's what I'm seeing more often, that a Zoom interview, if we are taking our time, we are sitting in front of us, you can deliver quite a lot. True. And maybe if we're experiencing that, it's not or that, but maybe we can also consider both possibilities to interact with our audience. And hopefully the audience, they can also go and watch the film online and interconnect with the people. And then at the same time, go to the cinema or to a festival and interconnect by being together. So I think we have to consider both things, and maybe we can learn at least something from that Corona pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. I agree that we should. This is like an eye opener. It opens new possibilities, and one doesn't exclude the other. And we should use it in the best way possible. Definitely, there are positive things which came out from this pandemic. Yeah. Marcus, thank you very much for your time and for this interview. It's an honor to have your film in our festival, and thanks again, and good luck with your next project.
And for me, it's an honor to be at your Biografilm Festival, because I really liked it very much, and you're doing a great job. So thank you for being invited and for that interview as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.